Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Arknights reaction. Today we have Final Embrace. This one was actually requested directly by David Lynn himself, who threw it into my DMs on Discord and was like, hey, this one's related to the other character you did a video on, Reed, a while back. And I was like, it's been a while. I barely remember the name Reed. There's so many characters in this game. So he's like, yeah, true. But also, new song. So like, of course I would want to listen to it. A few other people in the community have thrown it at me too, but David, I think, was actually the first, which usually never happens, so I guess without further ado, I am obligated to listen to this, and let's go! I love the immediate spooky sound design. Set the mood immediately. Oh! A beautiful tonality. God, her tone is just gorgeous. It's the perfect amount of dark. Those who've been around know I love my opera vocals, man. Oh, so the lyrics are dark too. Okay. Not that I expected any less.
Much pleasure, than from thee, much more must flow.
Is that David?
One short sleep past, we wake.
He kind of sounds like him. Wait a minute.
And death shall.
That could be. Maybe that's why he sent it. The rhythm of this song is gorgeous. This breathy pulse. It's just dragging you back and forth. Again, the sound design, dude. Ooh. A counter melody at that point. Okay.
Soon as our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and souls delivery.
I'm pretty convinced that might be David.
Past, we wake eternally.
It's been a while since we've spoken, but it feels like it could be him. That is sick as hell. I love the sound profile of that song. It just had so much airy noise in it. Like the sound design, so good, dude. This one oozed character in that dark literature space, especially because the male vocal in here, which I'm going to assume is probably definitely David. Just like listening to it, I listened to our interview again and was like kind of going back and forth. I'm like, this just is him. And if not, they had a dead ringer for David's voice, and they could have just asked David, who was already on the project. So like, I'm assuming that this is David. This has the same cadence that he talks in. It's got this nice airiness to it. He's got a lot of body to his voice that I don't think he gets enough compliments about. Like, David's got a really nice reading voice. It's soothing, it's dark, it's creepy in a way. And David, if you're watching this, I don't mean that in a negative way. There is a specific type of voice that reads dark poetry very well, and he has that quality to it. It's just a characteristic that sometimes like actors who get typecast have as like villains and such, you know, there's just people who sound good doing certain things, and David just nails this sort of like breathy airiness. He's got just enough of that low resonance that it just feels really good. And him reading John Donne is something I did not expect in here, because that's what it was. Specifically a little bit of Death Be Not Proud, which is a sonnet I haven't really read much of. I did actually do a few songs in my high school choir that were based around his work, so I was vaguely aware of this, but when I heard that, I didn't put it together. Somebody in the comments below it had, and I was like, oh! And I knew the name, so I thought it would be cool to bring up and talk about, so it's not like I recognized it out of the blue. I definitely had some support there, but it's still awesome he pulled something like that out for the lyrics, something that is quite literally attached in every way, really, to the message of this song. It's just a beautiful addition, and it makes everything else that's already dark and atmospheric feel that much more intense, because now there's two people involved. That starts to raise questions when you're just thinking about it musically, and everything else around it just has so much flavor to it. It's delicious, dude. I can't help myself. And of course, that message being basically, don't be afraid of death, and like thinking about what may be beyond it is comforting in a lot of ways to a lot of people, and that death really just isn't the end-all be-all in most people's belief systems. So like, there is a comfort in that, and that's kind of what John was trying to do when he was writing this poem. He was trying to make that clear, of course in much older language and phrasing than we use nowadays, but overall still keeping that general idea alive. And a lot of people do still have that belief as well, just that like, death isn't the end, there's something beyond it, and that's all fine, hunky-dory, whatever happens happens. Just don't be afraid of the end, because there may be more to happen, there may be another journey beyond death. And maybe that's where the whole message of the song is going. That would definitely tie in with that poem, but it's like, okay, so the character has some reason to believe that maybe whatever death happened in their life, maybe their sister, as I mentioned before, has happened, and this is kind of just like them coming to terms with it, or just being in general okay with the idea, maybe talking them down from their fear as they're dying. There's a lot of ways that could be perceived, and I don't have the required details to know exactly what story is happening here, but nonetheless, this is a beautifully dark piece, and everything about it, the composition, the lyrics especially, and it's all just mixed into this beautiful piece with all this beautiful dissonance in there, things that just sound a little bit off-putting, but otherwise still beautiful. Like, there is like beauty in that chaos that's being written in here, and things like that counter melody in there, that spot where I mentioned it, there is a note that goes down where the vocalist goes up. So it kind of argues with itself, and they separate a little bit more, when prior in the song, when it had done that part earlier, it didn't do that. So like, it's showing that there's a movement happening between these two bodies in the music, and that's very symbolic of what may be happening during that moment in the song. Maybe that's where the loss happens. There could be a bunch of stuff happening there, but it was so close to the end. That's kind of what I'm feeling, is that it was more or less the final embrace, the final goodbye. So it's like, okay, that's really cool. And just thinking about it in that degree, at that level, there's so many things in this song that kind of act with each other to create this dark atmosphere, and subtle details that you really don't think about while you're actually listening, but make all the difference when you're thinking about it after the fact and kind of reflecting on what you just experienced. Those are some of my favorite things, the ones that make you think a little bit. The poetic stuff, awesome, but the instrumentals as well, just as beautiful, just as deep, and just as thoughtful. This entire song just has such an air of presence to it, and in some ways maybe like a shock to the system, because I don't think people would be expecting death to come up immediately, or if it is kind of happening in the story in that moment, you just don't want to confront it at that time, because a lot of people handle death differently, and maybe don't want to immediately have to end up confronting those feelings right off the bat, and they need to stay in denial a little bit longer, stuff like that. This going basically straight into acceptance can be pretty jarring for people, so even in context, this might have felt a little bit strong to come on like that, but also that's kind of why I love the way that this sounds. It more or less is like a lullaby. It kind of just drops you in with like a cushion. Everything about the song may be dark, it may be dreary, it might have this energy of just despair around it, but there is still that beauty surrounding it all in all. And it feels like somebody trying to hold your hand through the process and make sure that you're aware that there may be something else, and this is, in the grand scheme of things, potentially okay. It's natural. So just go with it, and even though it may not be the ideal scenario, you can't exactly change what happened, but that doesn't mean you have to give up. But I think I got way too deep into this one, so thank you also very much for watching. Thank you, David, if you're watching this, for throwing it into my DMs and pointing a finger like, hey, look at our new song, go listen to it. This is insane. If it isn't you reading this, clarify that, because I straight up believe it is. If it isn't, how and who? You know, like, who sounds this much like you? I know it's been a while, bro, but like, this sounds like you. There's no way it's not. But if it isn't, please clarify who it is, because they've got a beautiful reading voice. But I digress. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other songs from Arknights you want me to get to that I haven't gotten to yet, please let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!